Hello, this is Brian from Be Ready Today. Just wanted to make a quick video about how I'm feeling, in this worldwide issue. This pandemic is really hitting home, um, and the concerns about what's going on is truly something that I hadn't felt in many years. Um, and we all know that things will go back to a somewhat normal, but we really don't understand what the impact of this issue is going to be until we get through it. Humankind has never had something of this nature happen where it's a worldwide pandemic and the instant access to communications is allowing everyone with internet access and a cell phone to hear what's going on and to react to it. And this is something that is, um, in my opinion, of biblical proportion. And so I wanted to share some of my feelings about what's going on. I have a loved one that um, I have a loved one that is considered um, essential to the company, and they had the loved one had a situation where it was chaos at where she was working to the point where it was borderline um, hysteria, where there were people going nuts and in terms of cursing people out, and it's moving to the point where there's probably going to be some mass hysteria on top of looting and it's a real shame, unfortunately this is the life we live, this is the time we live, and what can we do but try to be as prepared and as ready as we can. um, in terms of how I'm dealing with this situation, and it's not all about me, but I just felt like I need to share this with someone, and maybe someone can be helped by what I'm saying here. As you see, I have on my chest, in my head, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and I was on a chat with Angry Prepper Urban, and he was walking through some of my family's neighborhoods in the Bronx, even though I'm from Brooklyn. And as he was walking through all of these familiar streets, and I saw that there were just no one on the streets, and it looked like a movie set where they do computer graphics and they take everyone out of the background. But it was happening real time, and he was walking through the streets, and he showed a particular um, street, well, highway we call FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt Highway, and there were no cars, and that really hit me pretty hard in terms of, even though I know the gravity of what's going on, it really hit me pretty hard in terms of just what was happening at my home, in my hometown. And then I had a situation where my loved one indicated that there's a tension that's building where they work, and it's to the point where it's a boiling point where people are cursing and yelling, and even though they're in an office, they can actually hear people outside of the office, which is situated away from the public, yelling and screaming, and then people are coming in and they're talking about um, how they're being treated, very harshly, even though they are providing a service for the public. And it's really disheartening. But there's going to be a breaking point where things are going to actually get bad, and it's not bad yet, but Yes, I'm a optimist by nature. Even though I'm uh, yeah, I was going to say I'm very paranoid, but it's not a matter of paranoia, especially when you've been through something uh, um, uh, in your life that has been traumatic, and but it's a situation where you have to prepare, and I'm on a channel called Be Ready Today, and the name is catchy, but I'm really talking from the heart here, so we have to really take a look at how we're doing things and what we're doing and how we're preparing and how we're dealing with what's not only in front of us, what we can see, but what we cannot see, and we have to make certain that we're um, reading what's going on, both from the visual and the non-visual, and then take appropriate precautions and or actions to make certain that we are as ready as we can be. In my neighborhood here, I'm in Central Virginia. In my neighborhood, there's just this. There's a combination of things. There's a tension uh, from some, but then there's a loving part from others that they're already talking about sharing, and we're actually talking about, how we're, going to be helping. There are two things that are happening right now. One, there are people that are driving through and normally they would wave, but they're not waving, and they might be in their own head in terms of what's going on, and then there's and then with that they're so tense to the point where uh, it's in my opinion it may be unhealthy. But then there's another part of the neighborhood where they're even going out of their way to help and to discuss what they're doing, and their neighbors talking about how they're going to be doing things for people that are less fortunate, and that's a beautiful thing. And so different uh, um, there's so many different ways that people are dealing with this, and we have to be able to read those what they call, I guess, the proverbial tea leaves. But we also need to read the pulse of what's around us, not only what's inside where we are, but what's around us, to make certain that we are preparing and we're being ready to deal with those things. My loved one, we are preparing um, for the worst, and we're hoping and praying for the best. But you have to be ready. You have to be prepared. And so I'm just making this video just to, to share some of my things that's going on with me, um, and with me and mine. We're as prepped as we can be. However, you never know what the future is holding, and you never know how this is going to pan out. Because once again, this is not just happening in Virginia. This is not just happening in New York and Brooklyn. This is not just happening in Florida. This is happening around the world. And this is something that we'll have to write up. We'll have to write some white papers in terms of the lessons learned behind what we're doing here. And I'm trying to maintain my humor because I love humor. I love satire. But this is a situation where we really have to take a look at what's going on and see how we are prepared for this. And so this is me just, sharing my views and not touching my face, know, or picking my nose, But in terms of what we're doing here, we're hunkering down and we're preparing to hunker down even more. And so, anyway, God bless and take care of yourselves.